some slides, and then Devesh will walk you through the SDK. And then we also have like a sneak peek of JioGlass. If you ever Google JioGlass, then the third query that comes up is that is JioGlass real or not? So to assure you it's real, we will be giving you a little glimpse of it today. And then, of course, we'll open the floor for questions and answers as well. So, any questions, clarifications that you have, we'll answer them towards the end. Also, if you meanwhile also while going through some slides, you have certain questions, just feel free to, jot down all of these questions in the comments section. We will answer them towards the end while we're answering the other questions live with you guys. Okay. So let me start. I'm sorry, I'm just taking some time to load the presentation. Yeah, so guys, welcome. You all have heard of JioGlass. It's the reason why you all are here and also very actively developing content for the platform. So I just wanted to walk you through some of the key features that our device and innovation has that, we have been working on for the last 1 year now. So it starts with some very beautiful clarity. We have about 40 pixels per degree, which is, almost double of some of our peers in the market. And alongside that, we also have spatial audio, which is also the world's first private and directional audio situated in the stem of the glasses itself. Now, that kind of audio and clarity coming together gives a very immersive experience to anyone who is, watching content on GeoGlass. Now, alongside that, our device is extremely light. It's comfortable. It's compact, and I have personally used GeoGlass for about 1.5 hours, where I shuffled between Geo Cinema, where I watched like halfway through a movie. I played some hyper casual games, and I also watched this documentary in 360 degrees. So even when I took off the glasses, it did not make me feel dizzy. It wasn't very jarring for me, and it did not also make me it did not give a strain on my eyes. So all in all, very powerful device which we are coming out with, which has the potential to really revolutionize AR both in India and globally. um, Having said that, we are not just a device company. We are essentially building an entire platform that consists of hardware. It consists of OS and cloud. It consists of applications. and content across gaming, learning, productivity, shopping. And of course, the most beautiful thing about this entire ecosystem that we are building is that we have 4G, 5G, and fiber to power the system. Through this ecosystem, what we are doing is we are trying to solve two key problems that essentially exist in this industry at the moment. One is your affordability and accessibility to really good hardware, and the second one is the lack of availability of good content. So while we as a platform company have the technology, we have the scale, we have the playground, what we also want to grow further is content and sense of creativity which comes from developers and content creators like all of you. So you all have that passion to create great content, you have the skills, you have the talent, and we really want to give you that space so that you can grow, so that you can express yourself in the best way possible. So to empower you to create that content, we are, giving you reach and access to the millions of users that Jio is always known for. We have one of the highest bandwidth in the industry with fiber, which is also a key go-to market strategy. We have a Unity SDK for easy deployment. We are building India's largest mixed reality app store and ad platform that will really help you get some quick user feedback so you can improve your applications. We have a support team that will help you through any bugs or problems that come across while you're creating your content. We have we're a small team, but we also very much believe in helping each other out. So we all our team, which is basically the Geoglass creator team, will be sort of guiding you on how to make your application more engaging. For the early partners who are joining us for the launch, we will be giving marketing and outreach support, and of course early access to developer kits as well. Then there are two key factors, in fact, like components, I would say, which are going to really differentiate us from the rest of the players in the XR industry at the moment. So one of them is, of course, our go-to-market strategy, and the other one is the kind of diverse app store that we are aiming to build. Now, coming to this year, we are launching a 3-dock AR device into the consumer market. Now, this device will basically come with a 3-dock controller. It will run with any Android smartphone which has a Snapdragon 835 Plus processor and a compute unit. Now, this entire product offering will come bundled with the JioFiber set-top boxes. Now, JioFiber at the moment is installed in about 1.5 million households, and it also gives a very high bandwidth to seamlessly run any application. Now, this is important because this essentially creates a very meaningful relationship between us as a platform company, you as a developer, and the end user. So it sort of gives a sense of reliability between the three of us, because any application that is running on GeoGlass through the fiber will run in an extremely seamless and a smooth format. Now, what fiber also essentially gives us is the the platform to not just create gaming applications or reach out to a very enterprise focused audience. We are essentially creating this entire sort of a lifestyle and an entertainment based product that caters to use cases across learning, across entertainment, across healthcare, across productivity, and which essentially makes us a very unique product in the market, which is differentiated beyond gaming and enterprise solutions. With that, what also comes is the kind of user base and personas that you have the opportunity to create content for. Now, this will also challenge you as a developer and as a creative person to think about in what ways can I create content for example, grandparents, who require regular medical checkups. So how can I make healthcare more accessible for them? Or for example, if for example our parents who are enablers for kids education, then how can I ensure that I'm creating an application that will ensure that kids are actually getting the kind of skill development mechanisms that we can provide through XR. Or, like millennials like us who, for us, dating is such an integral part of our lifestyle. Then, why haven't we thought about creating, of course, in a more ethical way, a dating application that will just make interpersonal communication and relationships easy for all of us? So what this essentially our platform gives you is a challenge to go beyond some of the status quo and the standard applications that exist, and creatively think of the ways that you can challenge yourself to create applications that will actually solve a problem irrespective of a platform or a medium. And these some of these solutions can come right from within the kind of household that you're living in, or even which could include your parents, your grandparents, kids, brothers, sisters, roommates, anyone. That's the kind of key you know USP that we have, is that we don't have a very specific audience like a gaming or an enterprise focus. It GeoGlass is literally for anyone and everyone. Then coming to, I just want to give you certain insights on the kind of content strategy that we are trying to build for the launch going forward. Now, over the past 3 to 4 months, we have been running a very closed marketing campaign, and through which we have been able to get about close to 200 and now 250 concepts across gaming, learning, productivity, and entertainment. Having said that, while we usually respect the kind of industry that these particular categories have built so far, what we also want to now do is that go beyond these certain categories and create content which has been brought to the limelight, especially with the pandemic under which we have been living. So for example, healthcare and productivity are very key categories for us. We want to, and especially within these categories, we want to challenge mental health. We want to talk about well-being and fitness, and how communication both in a professional and a personal setting can be made easy for the user. And I also believe that can also be augmented using AR and VR. Now, the second thing that I want to concentrate on is the kind of global content. And this particularly goes out to some of the, international developers who we have on the platform, who, are usually concerned about if their content will work well in an Indian market or not. Will it perform well here, or how will it actually be perceived? Now, to just give you an insight, if your content is performing well across different platforms in a global market, especially in an English speaking audience, then it has a very high likelihood to perform well in the Indian market as well. Just to give you some examples, Among Us, which was sort of trending globally the last few months, was also the most downloaded application in India, in especially in the gaming category, in the month of September. And also, if you look at Netflix, certain titles that performed globally, like Queen's Gambit recently, or for example Friends, they have also a very high user base in India. Then I want to talk about the third thing is that in terms of gaming itself, what we haven't really got concepts for are, there are certain traditional Indian games that we are very much used to, like Ludo and Rummy and Teen Patti. They are just like games that are very culturally embedded in our day-to-day life, but we haven't really seen any kind of traction from you guys or ideas on how we can actually make these games accessible in an immersive format. And given all of these combined, what we're actually looking for are two things. One is that we're looking for category leaders. So if we want you to come up with certain ideas that will disrupt this market, and for these ideas we are willing to give you exclusive support, and both in terms of the dev case, in terms of the kind of monetary support that we can provide. And the other key thing is that engagement metrics, I believe that we as a platform and as an industry, we want to move beyond POC applications, and not just build content just because we're building it for AR or VR. It's a new emerging technology. It's cool, so we should build for it. What we should also do here is to understand that we need qual- quality over quantity at this moment, and we need. And I want to encourage you to like think about in what ways can you build content which will make the user come back to your application multiple times, which will encourage the user to also spend a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes on your content. That is not only going to be beneficial for us as a platform company or you as a developer, but even for consumers who are getting a meaningful application as a whole. Then of course, we have a developers program which is ongoing, and most of you who are a part of this webinar at this moment are already a part of it. But those who are not, I would love for you to join us. We have a dev portal which is currently under development, and meanwhile we are mostly doing all of this process manually, but that really shouldn't stop you from building content with us. We just sign up on developers.tesseract.in. It's our main website. We will we have a dev growth team that will get in touch with you as soon as possible, and we will help you with understanding and what your concept is, what your idea is. We want to make it more engaging for you, help you develop it in a more sort of user friendly way. We will sort of help you with all the legal technicalities as well, and make sure that you're able to publish it right before we go for the launch, so you can be part of a history in the making. Now, I know I've done a lot of talking. I now want Devesh to take over, and also why all of you are here. So yeah, I'm gonna now head it over to Devesh. Cool. So yeah.
Hello, hi everyone. I hope you guys can see me. Yeah, just a second. I think there's. Yeah. Ishka, can you unshare your screen?
Yeah, one second.
Yeah. Hope you guys can see me now. I think I would be appearing somewhere in the corner with the video. Wonderful. So, hi guys, great having you guys on board. It's super exciting to to see something that sort of you're building, and that a community grow, and sort of it's my pleasure and everyone's pleasure who's sort of here to sit with you guys and give you like a sneak peek into what we've been doing, what we've been up to, and what do we have in mind as well. And would absolutely love your feedback, your suggestions, and any other any shout out that you want to give to anybody, any one of us. That really will sort of help us pave the way. Cool. So I would without yes, and if you keep checking the chat, I think Arnav has just mentioned that you can also just post your questions and queries here throughout the session, and from time to time I'll just have a look at it and try to answer those to the best of my ability. Wonderful. Now moving on, I think let me quickly pull up my screen. Hope you guys can see my screen now. And what I'm going to sort of start with is going to give you a quick sneak peek of the SDK, of what are the key features of the SDK, how would you go about using the SDK. Also, we're going to attempt to sort of try out the SDK into and by building, or rather porting a game onto our SDK through during this webinar, so that it sort of is more of a learning by doing, rather than sort of me just talking and you sort of that going it like that. So starting off, I think first things first. I believe a lot of you. I was just going through the mailing list. I think a lot of you do have access to our SDK and have been using our SDK. So probably this is something that's not super new for them. But for people who probably have not yet seen the SDK and they don't know what it's about, I'm going to just spend a couple of minutes here. The SDK is an ever evolving beast itself, and obviously that's the singular entry point which allows anybody to publish or publish any applications or content over this GeoGlass ecosystem. And of course, like as we go ahead, we sort of keep adding more features and sort of keep sort of reducing or removing the ones which are redundant. But but as of now, as of the latest release that we had launched around, I think, end of last year. Uh, just a second. End of last year, uh, the this is the slide which has the key features. So you have so what we are launching with the SDKs is something called the Jio Mixed Reality Toolkits. This is essentially drag and drop UI components that allows you to quickly prototype and create applications with ready-made UI assets for a lot of different functionalities, such as buttons, radio buttons, toggles, canvases, scroll views, etc. Obviously, this also has an inbuilt color and icon system, which allows you to sort of customize that to your liking, to your branding. And of course, we are always constantly improving these, and we'll probably be giving out more controls to sort of change the theme and the more appearance models of these. Then the second one is obviously the input system. Now, as you might be familiar, perhaps by having used an Oculus SDK or any other XR SDK, the two most important things that the SDK does is obviously handle rendering and the input system, or rather the interactions. Now, when we were designing the input system, what we definitely kept in mind is that GeoGlass is an evolving ecosystem, and over time we're going to have multiple devices into the market which wants to leverage the same SDK. We want to have different peripherals actually leveraging the same SDK, meaning I could have a GeoGlass controller right now. I may want to have a keyboard integration later on, or mouse integration. So the way that we've essentially done this is that it's completely abstracted to the user experience level, meaning while you are excuse me, while you as a developer are using any of the APIs for the input system, you don't really need to bother specifically what controller is going to eventually be used by the user to sort of trigger those experiences. And in future, as we add more variations of controllers, you wouldn't really have to redo your code, or you wouldn't really have to recompile to a certain extent, before that support is sort of added. So that's what is we've done in the input system. And of course, having editor functionality is something that's super important. So in the meantime, while we are working days and nights to get you the dev kits, and then eventually the GeoGlasses for your development. Obviously, I think using editor is the only other best way for you to go about and sort of test out your applications. And of course, this is a complete emulator which allows you to not only emulate rendering but also interactions and sort of the entire jazz around it. Uh, Additionally, we also have given some additional APIs for accessing system actions, such as back, home, recenter, etc. And we have also sort of provided a standardized way of adding 3D interaction onto your objects. Now, I think I'm going to shift from the PPT over to Unity itself. So, believe obviously this is super familiar to everyone. This is the Unity screen, and what I'm going to quickly do is sort of just import the SDK and just show what all does it do, and what changes does it sort of bring about. So so here's how you import any asset into Unity, or any Unity package. And you sort of click on import. It generally takes a little while. So I'm just gonna wait till that happens. And in the meantime, also talk about, of course, there are the GeoGlass itself has a lot of hardware that sort of goes into it. It has a camera, it has multiple sensors, it has the display itself, and lot more services which are maybe more to do with the user experience level. For example, voice services, or even speech recognition, and sort of intent, or rather intent-based recognition, which is something similar to how Alexa works. Now, all of those hardware APIs are also something that are under sort of release cycles, and you'll be seeing more of these coming into the GeoGlass SDKs into the GeoMixality SDK as you start sort of getting those updates. All right. So as soon as I have sort of imported the SDK, what I'll see here is basically a toolbar menu which says GeoMix Reality, and this and majority of what you would want to do with this SDK is all situated right here. And the simplest way that you want to configure any scene to your mixed reality SDK, or rather to a GeoMix Reality app, or a GeoMix Reality scene, is by basically going here and clicking on Configure Scene for GeoMix Reality. What this essentially does is basically it adds an additional prefab or a game object onto your scene. And you can go ahead and remove the main camera, because all of your rendering interactions, etc., is going to be sort of handled and taken care of by the GeoMix Reality prefab. Now, if you just sort of go deeper into it, you will see that there's a bunch of things which is already part of the prefab that sort of gets loaded. This is the rig. This is what handles all of your rendering and tracking, essentially. This is the input manager, which essentially takes care of your emulator key bindings or the GeoGlass controller keys. And in future, as I was saying, any new controller or any new input method that we add is going to sort of pass through this input manager. And of course, the last is the Toolkit Manager, which allows you to sort of access a lot of these ready-made UI functionalities that we provide, and to sort of give a consistent sort of user experience. And I want to spend a bit of time there. What generally happens in a new media like XR, right? Is that there is not many standards that's set yet. Like, for example, if you look at mobile, if you look at Android, if you look at a Netflix app, or if you look at let's say any other gaming app, and which essentially uses a keyboard input, or which needs an input field. The moment you click on that, it's the Android system keyboard that sort of comes up, right? And that's very standard for the user. The user knows, what do I need to do with it? How do I interact with it? And it's very familiar to the user. That's how you define the maturity of an ecosystem to be, meaning how many things are so standard and so intuitive to the user that be it any app that sort of gets called in this manner. And that's sort of our initiative and our hope and our aim with these toolkits is to eventually reach that stage in which whenever you are building any application, we won't want you to, or we don't want you to sort of have your own keyboard implementation. We don't want you to have your own voice interface implementation. Those are things that we're already providing as part of the SDK, and this really helps to engage the consumer or the customer over and over in different experiences, is because he or she or they exactly know, what am I supposed to do here? I'm expecting a keyboard to be coming in this shape, form, size, color, etc., and this is how I'm supposed to react. So as we proceed, or as we sort of keep doing more and more updates and releases to the SDK, you will start seeing a lot of these core fundamental tools and core fundamental aspects of this toolkits, which we'd love for you to sort of use, and sort of would be wonderful if there's sort of a standardization that we can maintain as we go ahead in that sort of manner. Speaking of toolkits, let me give you a sort of quick, sneak peek of what exactly that entails. So obviously right now, we've given about, I believe, 15 to 17 odd assets, or rather components that are readily available with the GeoMix Reality SDK. And what this essentially allows you to do is, again, it's a simple menu, just like you have a game object menu, from which you can add objects to your scene. You have a UI menu which you can add, with which you can add objects to your scene. The first thing, of course, since these are all UI elements at the moment, you need to have a canvas. And any canvas that you want to use. Oh, by the way, I've also just added like a key binding here, so hope you guys can see this, so that as I'm interacting with certain keys, you can know what key I have pressed, if at all. So just post in your comments if you can't really see that. There should be somewhere around here. All right, I'll move on in the meantime. So yes, for any canvas that's part of this sort of SDK, it essentially needs to be part of a JMR SDK canvas. So if in case you add a normal canvas, for example, from your Unity menu, you just would need to click on convert to this guy, convert to JMR SDK canvas. This essentially adds some utility functions which allows to which enables the interactions on these canvases, and a couple of other things. Cool. So I'm going to quickly just show you, what essentially using this kind of toolkit is like. And of course, there's TMP Bro. I think there's a lot of struggle on the Discord channel with our SDK and TMP, and we really trying to figure out. We do have certain dependencies with that, but in our testing, we never really realized that it was only going to work with one version. But anyways, we are on it. So yeah, so this is what essentially a ready-made button from the SDK sort of looks like, and of course right now it's just shaded with the default blue, and I can sort of just add like a couple more items first, and then I'll sort of just show what else can I do with it. So let me add a search field, for example, and just put it on the side. Just turn off my gizmo. Yeah. And perhaps let's say just like a floating checkbox. Cool. Now, of course, once you have these sort of buttons in it, you might be wondering that I mean, there's no big deal wherein you can perhaps create this button from scratch within no time. That's true, and but rather the advantage or the additional features that we provide with this sort of a tool is that one, that you can sort of customize the colors over all the toolkit together. So it's sort of like a utility tool that we've sort of created, which what essentially it does is that all the assets are sort of laid or sort of created using a layering system, which I think a more detailed description of that color system is in the PDF that we've shared over as part of the SDK, so you can go have a look at it, but in a nutshell, the entire UI asset is broken down into a couple of different layers, and that essentially allows you to sort of customize these colors based on whatever your brand color is. So for example, if I want to go with something something similar to Geo7, I don't remember the hex code, but but for instance, if this is something that they have, and so the moment I click on it, the assets, they start having they take off these colors, and you can sort of use them to sort of customize these colors in one go altogether without having to sort of bother about how does it change over time. Additionally, what it also sort of there is some error with this though, so I'm gonna just re-import this. So of course, also if as soon as you've set some color, if you re-import, the color sort of is maintained. Additionally, this is, as I was saying, this is a ready-made sort of asset that you can sort of just drop in and use. So essentially, if I'm just sort of hovering over it in my emulator on my editor, then it's already sort of functioning. And if I press any of the sort of interaction buttons, then I can already see its functionality coming in. And for example, this is the keyboard, and so it's already sort of like a ready-made tool that you can sort of just drop in, and it will be immediately plug and play. Of course, and all of these assets also have their own on-click methods. They can be used either through code or through the inspector itself. So there are multiple ways in which you can access these and sort of imbibe their functionalities. Cool. So that was my intro for the toolkits. Now, having sort of gone past that, I want to talk a little bit about how does interaction work in Jio Mixed Reality, and and what essentially so as I was saying, right, in essence, the Jio Mixed Reality SDK provides you with two most important functionalities to make any Unity app into an XR app, which is the rendering and the interactions. Now, the rendering is immediately sort of taken care of with this the moment you put or you import this prefab onto the hierarchy. And the interaction is something that obviously the underlying mechanisms is already present here. But if you want to add something functional or something more custom to your scenes, then how do I sort of go about doing that? Now there are multitude of ways, and there are multiple interaction entry points that sort of you can access or use and subscribe to in in a more developer language, and of course the three major ways is there are a bunch of sort of handler interfaces that we have provided as part of the SDK, which for example as in focus handler, select handlers, etc. What these allow for you to do is basically take basically have these implement these interfaces and sort of go about including that functionality. There's also a ready-made script or a JMR that's which is called the JMR manipulation. That's for adding a direct interactivity to 3D objects for for things like drag and drop, scale, rotate, etc. And the third is, of course, there is also global and local listeners, meaning that you can either have these interactions targeted when an object is either in focus, be it through gaze or through controller, or it could be in a global it could be sort of triggered globally even if there's no particular object which is in focus. So then it's more of a system call. For example, if you want to pause the game at a certain point, or if you want to click fire, but it doesn't matter where am I looking at and I want to do fire, or like a shoot in that scenarios. um, so and obviously there's a bunch of system actions that you can sort of also sort of subscribe to. So what we're going to quickly do is instead of me just sort of just sort of talking and sort of speaking in general about this, what we're going to quickly do is, for example, take an example. And this is a demo project that I think I had downloaded from the asset store a while back. I just sort of found it in my system, and I just thought might be a good example for the demo. So it's a super simple sort of game. As you can see, there's basically two guns, there's a crosshair, and as the name, okay, the name doesn't suggest. So the name is Insect Shooter, very classic. And what essentially this does is, can you guys hear the audio? Arnav, guys, can you just sorry, now. Arnav, can you just confirm, were you able to hear the audio?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so it's a very simple game. I can sort of just shoot by clicking. So I'm just clicking on my mouse and I can sort of just shoot. And for some reason, the rotation, or in the original game, the original source code, the controls weren't working. So I did not fix that. But essentially, there are bunch of these sort of insects that are coming around, and I can sort of shoot them. So what we're going to do is sort of just go through a quick exercise and try to port this game over for our SDK or for GeoGlass essentially. So obviously the first thing that we'll do as mentioned is just go here, right here, configure your scene for mixed reality. That's that's the most simplest and the first thing that you would ever do. So you already have a prefab. That's the Jio mixed reality prefab. And the next thing that you want to do for a game like this is obviously find the camera that's being sort of used here. And what you want to basically do is replace this camera with your Jio mixed reality camera, because now I don't want this to be rendered in a 2D screen in whatever manner this is being rendered. I want to instead, excuse me, I want it instead to be rendered using my the geomix reality prefab or the geomix reality sort of rendering system. So I'm just gonna go here and drop this guy into here, and of course just sort of hide the main camera. And I'm just gonna hit play and see what essentially happens. And a couple of things about the editor itself. Hold on, I'm just gonna decrease the volume a little. Yeah. Is immediately as soon as I drop it and I sort of play this, you will notice that you will see an editor window on the game mode, and you'll see a window which is quite small than what the general window size is. Now, the reason that this happens, or the reason that the SDK does this, it's done on purpose. It's because the dev kits that we'll be shipping out, and of course there's more information available on that. That is actually an older hardware that we had, which essentially had a 90-degree field of view. Whereas the GeoGlass that we're launching is about 50-degree, but a much higher, crispier resolution of the display. So in order for our SDK to sort of understand both and sort of emulate that experience of having a shorter field of view through GeoGlass, so that while you are compositing the scene and while you are creating this app, you don't get misguided that it's going to be this big or this small. That's the reason that this comes in such a small sort of window. And what that essentially means for you is that for all practical purposes, this is your sort of scene. And of course, so what I'm doing right now is sort of just going about and sort of rotating my camera by using the mouse's right click. And obviously what I can see is the cameras are not moving. I mean, the guns are not moving with me. And so I'm just going to quickly go and fix that. So you can see that there's a rig, and as I'd mentioned earlier, the rig is your element which essentially controls how does the head move. So I'm gonna just I'm just gonna go and drag and drop these two guys inside, and now hopefully I should be able to see the guns move with me as I sort of rotate. So yeah, wonderful. So now the guns are indeed moving with me. But of course, now I still don't have the interaction, or rather, I still haven't found a way for me to really be able to shoot using the controllers that I have. So that's where we come, and we will start implementing some of these guys, and and let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the script which has the which essentially is responsible for shooting. So we're just going to find that. And in the meantime, my Visual Studio takes a hell lot of time to load. I'm sure yours does too. But in the meantime, what I'm going to quickly take the opportunity is to also just talk a bit about what controls do we get with in GeoMX Reality, and then we're going to also talk about how do you emulate those controls onto your editor, which is probably going to be your best friend, at least for some time till we get you those dev kits. So essentially, the GeoGlass controller. Actually, just give me 1 minute. I'll get the controller for you. So can you guys see my screen as well? My video feed apart from the presentation.
Yes,
so this is the GeoGlass controller. Essentially, it has basically a trigger button. It has about 1, 2, 3 click buttons. This also doubles. This also doubles as a trackpad. So this is the trigger, the trackpad, which is also clickable, and 2 buttons, which essentially is 2 buttons, trackpad, clickable, and a trigger. And predominantly anything that you would want to any primary interaction that you want to sort of include or make part of your application or your system, you can do it with the select clicker, which is basically this. So the trigger basically acts as your select or as your click functionality, and the long pressing that actually acts as your manipulate functionality, which allows you to basically rotate, drag and drop, rotate, and move things about. Additionally, these 2 buttons provide a lot more of a system functionality. So this single press of this basically does back. Double press of this activates the voice, and long press of this activates the voice, which is the inherent Jio's voice services, which will be released soon with the next version. Right now, it's just a dummy button, and and third is the IPT calibration, and And likewise, the as you can see, the bottommost button reserved for home, recenter, and sort of menu functions. Now, all of this obviously is something that, once you get the controller, it's going to be really straightforward. So, I'm going to sort of, just move on. But what's really important and super helpful for you guys is to also know how do you use the emulator. So even when I was rotating the head into that scene, how was I really doing that? So in order to sort of rotate your head or rotate the head around in a 360-degree sort of motion, you basically right click the mouse and sort of just move your mouse around. So you hold the right click and you sort of move the mouse around to move the head. So I'll just repeat that. So for example, right now I'm moving I've held the right click and I'm sort of just moving my mouse, and that's how sort of I rotate. And then where did it go? Yeah. That's that. Then J is the button, which essentially is a proxy for this trigger button. So essentially, pressing the J button once is your select, and pressing it twice gives you the manipulate. Likewise, as you can see, H is your proxy for this home recenter menu button, and G is your proxy for the back voice IPD button. Now, apart from this, if you want to use swipe or if you want to emulate swipe on this on your what do you say editor, we haven't yet added the mouse scroll as swipe. This will be something that will be coming soon on the editor. But in the meantime, you can use the FCVB keys, and it's essentially is F and V are swipe up, swipe down, and C and B are swipe right, swipe left. And in in a similar manner, if you want to move your rig back and forth using sort of you move it about, then you can do WASD. However, please do note that this is just something that we had given in the editor. Just if you wanted to sort of see how would this object look from up close, etc. But please know that JioGlass right now is obviously a 3D device, so this movement is only an indicator, in the editor mode. So moving from here, and in fact, actually, let me just pause for a bit to see if there are any specific questions, or if I'm completely going in a tangent, which maybe, people are not able to either absorb or anything else. Any specific questions that you guys want to have? I'll take it for 5 minutes, otherwise I'll proceed. Maybe you guys can post it. JioGlass demo with that game. Yeah. All right. Okay. And I think there are a couple of questions for you. So Azam asked, is it possible to use JioGlass itself instead of the emulator in the editor? Unfortunately, not right now.
Divesh, there's another question from Rushabh about 360 video, if you can answer that.
Yeah, it just got flooded. It will be like capture 360 video played on JioGlass? Not really. Yes, so you can you don't really need any additional what do you say functionality to sort of capture or rather play 360 video on JioGlass. You can just do it with your standard sphere and putting this rig in the center. Okay, so I think there are a lot of questions which are generally about the SDK, etc. So I'm going to take those in the end. And I saw two guns because of 2i cameras. Oh yes, so the game source originally had 2 guns. So it's just because of that. It's not because of what do you say, the eye camera. So if I can just sort of quickly show you, there are 2 guns here. And it's just the design of the game that it basically had 2 guns. I think so. Mixing. Yes, I'm going to cover this, Amisha, and I think a lot of other questions, compatibility with the mode. Yes, so So I'm really sorry. Let me jump back onto completing the demo, and then I'll answer a lot of these questions and any more. Really sorry. I think I opened the floodgates at the wrong time, but I will, sort of circle back to it. I hope that's okay. Cool. So, I'm gonna proceed with this, and yeah, right. So where were we? So yes, so we have added the functionality to into the scene, the rig, or rather the renderer. What we haven't yet added is, of course, our way to add interactions. So as I was stating earlier, in sort of this slide, there are basically a bunch of handlers or handler interfaces that that you can implement and sort of use to to basically enable a lot of these functionality. And sort of to give you a quick example of what I mean by that is basically, first of all, I'm just gonna import the JMR SDK.input module, and of course I'm gonna have this shooting happen on a select down, or basically on the down of this button, because I want to make it feel more like it's like shooting. So it's not on the confirmed click, it's basically on a down. So I'm just gonna do select handler, for example, implement their interfaces, and I can see that here this is the game manager. Okay, or actually I should be doing this in game controller. Yeah. I'm just gonna repeat that. Yes. So as you can see that in this, the original game basically had that on mouse buttons click, it basically called the shoot. I'm gonna do that on select down. I'm gonna comment this guy. I'm gonna comment this guy. This will it'll throw exceptions for no reason. And here also I will probably just comment this for now because I added it by sorry. Added it by mistake. Okay. All right. So now what should essentially happen is, it's taking a while to, yeah. So now essentially what should happen is if I play and of course I can sort of look around, and if I press J, it should shoot, but it's not shooting right now. Now the reason why it's not, and I just wanted to sort of give a shout out to the global and local listener aspect, is the reason why it did not immediately sort of register that shoot, or it did not shoot, is because this gun controller is present on this sort of base gun, and obviously this is not the game object that sort of I'm focusing at. So, or rather, I want this shoot to work irrespective of where I'm looking. It's basically a global shoot in that manner. So the way you add any sort of global what do you say, listener, or a global interaction, so that it does not really depend on where I'm looking at or what the object I am sort of focusing at, then you basically add this somewhere in your script, and obviously in your destroy, if you have a destroy, make sure to unsubscribe to it. And what this will allow now, if only it can compile. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Right. So now if I press J, yes, I'm able to shoot. So as you can see, the shoot is now happening as I press J, and you can see that J sort of hovering on the top. I just with that sort of some asset that I just sort of wanted to use that for. And what this essentially does is, right now, is that in the editor itself, you can test that, okay, this seems to be working fine. I am able to, move my head. Rendering is working fine. I am able to, use my on select down to sort of do this, which essentially means that this, in a nutshell, at least this whole functionality of it is now ready. Like I can really immediately, even right now, push this to my device and have this sort of game working. And I want to give just one more example of how would you implement something like a system something like a system function such as a back button. So it's exactly in that similar manner that you just implement the back interface, which is an on back button, and and just like that, you have all the other things that can be taken care of. Now there's also one really cool thing that we can do, is if I want to add a functionality in which I can drag and drop stuff, then how do I do that? So in order to be able to do that, I'm just going to remove the rigid body here, also to fall off. So I'm just taking a dummy, like a object, just going to add the JMR manipulation script, have is grabbable on, scalable, movable on, and maybe move him somewhere near my camera so that I can actually see him. I think it's on the camera, so let me just go somewhere here. So right now, if I basically wanted to, sort of just grab this guy, then hold on, I think. Let me just do it for the cube real quick. Yeah. So if I have this object, and if I just sort of long press the J button, which is basically the manipulation button, then I can essentially do more things like grab, and if I was sort of do swipe up, swipe down, as you can see, F, V, or swipe right, which is B, swipe left, then I can sort of add an object and sort of have the scale, rotate, grab functionality right, sort of built into it. So just wanted to give a quick couple of what do you say, key things of how would you use the SDK. And as you can see, it's really simple to sort of convert any Unity project into a project is compatible with the Mixed Reality SDK. All you need to do is sort of surgically find where your interactions are being called, where your shoot or your back or whatever else is the functionality of your particular game. If there's something drag or something that's there, and you just want to replace a lot of some of these components with the with the ones that I sort of showed. And of course, a lot more detail of this is given in the documentation, so we don't expect this to be the complete thing of it, but hopefully it gives you a much better idea of how to sort of what it essentially means to use this SDK. I do have 4 minutes before I wrap up specifically this session. So I'm just gonna also show you one additional thing that we provide along with our SDK. And that's basically the Jio MR design system template. Now, what we basically did is, apart from apps which are gaming heavy, of course, in which the scene composition and everything is much more dependent on your game designer or the creative lead who's sort of leading that particular project. But if you're sort of going for certain more traditional screen-based games or screen-based applications, maybe some productivity apps or even some media and entertainment apps, then we just sort of put together I hope it loads. Yeah. So we sort of just put together like a base template of how would you ideally want to set up your scene. And the couple things to note is, of course, that with your mixed reality camera rig being at 000, the ideal position to place any UI or any content is basically at a distance of 2 units. The reason being that this GeoGlass is obviously, and Unity is, works on metric systems, and sort of we take care of that. And what this allows you to do is put the object at a decent, 2 meter stage, which sort of, looks right. It doesn't look too close. It doesn't look too far. It gives the right kind of depth. And if you want to bring it close, then don't bring it, even less than 1 meters. And all of these are obviously presented in the design system, um, you know, document that is shared along with the SDK. But to sort of just give you an idea, what we recommend and what we really, love people to do is have all of your majority aspect happening in this front canvas. The canvas scale needs to be set to 0.001. That's just for some reason Unity's scaling for canvases works best for us in this manner. So that's what we would want. Put your app navigation bar here. Ideally, put your logos here. Have most of your content sort of in this area, and you can use the left and right canvas to show anything additional that you would want. If you have any quick access settings, make it sort of pop out and have it more of like your flight control. So that's right there in your reach for the user, and of course then use depth to your advantage as much as you can. So that's just something that I wanted to sort of spend some time on in case people were confused at what is this additional Unity file that is being shipped with the SDK. So, but yeah, and sort of once you build it, this is sort of something. How would you see it in one go, in one sort of field of view, and yeah, so that's that. Great. So I think I'm mostly done. I just want to sort of conclude my talking at least with this, that these are the sort of features that we have planned going ahead, and of course this is in no way exhaustive. This is also in no way what do you say the only features that we are sort of going to build. This is more of a roadmap in the next 2 to 3 months, in fact, and much beyond that is something that we get to sort of work on. But of course, more toolkits allowing you to have video player asset, a voice UX asset, more collections, more cooler scroll views. We've sort of designed. We're going to make it part of the toolkit so that you all can use it as well. More hardware APIs. In the last release, camera, voice, and sensors APIs not present. We'll be sort of releasing those soon. Super important is behavioral analytics. This is something that we'll be adding in a release a little later, but within the 3 months period. This is going to be a core sort of crux for a lot of us, understanding and judging our own games, understanding what works in our games or what works in this whole ecosystem, what does not work in this whole ecosystem. And a lot of this analytics APIs will be exposed for you guys. So to add in, to get to understand more about, how do you want to improve that experience for your users. You're going to have a much solid debug tool, which will allow you to take snapshots and recordings from within GeoGlass along with system vitals and some sort of a profiler. This will help even for us if you have a certain bug or a certain thing which breaks and it's really difficult for you to either reproduce or explain it to us. You can send us this video in the form of that this is a crash video. It's like a crash log. And our dev teams can sort of really look into it in a much much more deeper and precise manner. We're going to be adding a couple more additional features such as cast record, physical keyboard mouse integrations, theory of teleport system. I'm still in two minds, but this is, I think, a good system to have. And of course, much more fun and I would say much more interesting are a lot of these platform features. Which is going to give you, access to a lot of these additional services, which are, asset streaming services, be it collaboration, multiplayer, be it notifications, so that you can pass system notifications to the OS launcher or to even your, mobile phone, so that, if you build an app which needs to consume these notifications, that can be done. Payments, ads, analytics, and much more. This is a bit more sort of far and future looking. This is a much more immediate and something that we will be seeing within March, April sort of time frame in the SDK releases. Sweet. I spoke a lot. I'm really sorry if I bored you. I hope not. But now I think we would love to hear a couple of questions, and then obviously we'll end with a quick sneak peek of what GeoGlass looks like. But so I think it's I'm probably just gonna scroll through up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shika, Hi, Shika.
Hello. I think now we should open up the floor to just questions, from you guys. So just let us know.
Do you want to just read the questions from there and ask, or do you want them to ask?
Yeah, I mean, we can do both.
I think let's just read from there and answer. So I'm just gonna go scroll up. Okay. When is the developer program starting?
So the development program is an ongoing program. We are just register on the link that I have multiple times shared with you in the comment section also, and it's developers.tesseract.in. We are support team here. We'll just get in touch with you. We will thrash out the idea. We want to understand if it's actually engaging for the platform or not, and then we want to have an active conversation with you to understand how to actually bring it in the most efficient way onto the platform.
Wonderful. Is it 360 compatible? Yeah, so you won't be able to record 360 videos. You will be able to watch. Any plans for hand tracking or using external motion controllers? In fact, yes, we do have a hand tracking release in our pipeline, but it is still a little too early to say by when. But yes, keep checking with us, and we'll surely give you a date soon. Will there be issues while using URP and HDRP? So currently, this is something that is also planned in a more immediate release, maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks. URP and HDRP immediately are not supported. We have realized a lot of UI toolkits breaking if you convert your project to URP or HDRP. But we are sort of doing that, and probably will be available in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And because even we realize that we surely missed. Do you have any plans for undergrad students? Kind of group of 7 to 8 members already working with AR Core, AR Foundation. Not exactly sure what plans do you specifically. If you want to come join us, please do. Like, that's the best plan that I can think of. But perhaps perhaps you can reach out to Arnav, and he can maybe also sort of help there. Our hand gestures and hardware touch click are supported. As mentioned, hand gestures under pipeline, not sure. I don't have a date yet, but soon. This SDK supports 2020 LTS. So it supports 1990, which listed. 2018 it works, but it's not officially sort of, what we say that, it works with that. Or rather, actually, I think it's 17 to 19. That is true. As some media house report will cost around. So media houses get their news from somewhere, we don't know where. Priced decently aggressively, meaning that you will be surprised very happily to see it coming at a price which will really give you a sigh of relief, and give you a feel that, okay, wonderful, finally there's a device which people will buy, and it's not going to burn a hole in their pocket. I cannot unfortunately commit to a price on camera, but if you meet somewhere in a bar, sure, I can let you know.
Well, I would just request you all to not, follow through any speculative, information that comes out in the news. If any information regarding the price, the launch has to come about JioGlass, it will come through us. So, just be cautious of any news that you read.
Yeah.
Otherwise, except for anything coming from the JioGlass platform.
Yes. Where is this SDK available? So the SDK is available through our developer program. Ishika, you want to talk about how do people get their SDK?
Yes. So basically, just, again, I'm saying this, just register on the platform, and, we will get in touch with you. If we like your idea and if we think it's relevant for the platform, we will get in touch with you. We will get a basic legal formality completed, and then we will share the SDK, the documentation, product specifications, everything. And even give you access to our Discord link, which is at the moment a private community and only accessible to those, who are our partners, who, with whom we're working for the launch.
Yeah. So in short, just contact her and Arnav, and they'll help you with everything. So the Geomixarity prefab is like a replacement. Yes. So it is essentially a replacement for your main camera in a game, or the Oculus prefab FPS controller, or anything else, which basically is the way that you render or you see the game. you please send the Discord link. I think Shreya can do that. Please sign. Okay.
Raj, I will get in touch with you with the Discord link. I believe I've already sent it to you, but in case I haven't, I will, do the needful.
How much time it takes for the SDK application to pass? Pradyum, can you elaborate on your question? I'm not really sure. I'll come back to your question a little later. Okay. sign up. Okay, dude. Is this using the legacy XR plugin or the new one? So it is not using the XR namespace currently. It's built separately from scratch at the current moment. There are still some features that the XR namespace does not is not compatible. Our system is not yet compatible with it. So hence we are not doing that right now. But we do have plans to eventually move into there, which will, I know, make the development much more streamlined, especially across different platforms. 360 compatible is done. Just gonna read through. A lot of it Arnav has already answered. He swooped in like Batman and answered all of your questions. Are you the man that Tesseract needs?
Yeah, just in the interest of time, I'm answering the questions that I can. I think the way you can answer the technical ones.
Yeah, I'm not able to find more technical questions. I think people are just experts now. When will it be launched, and what will it be its price? That's the $1 million question, which, as I said, unfortunately cannot answer right now.
I think we should do a demo now. So guys, a lot of you are dropping out. Don't you guys want to see what JioGlass looks like in real life? Just wait for like 5 minutes. We will show you the device.
So let's do that first, and then maybe for people who have questions, they can keep doing that, and then others who want to drop, they can drop out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me do that first. Let me get the device. Where's the phone? Where's the phone? Okay.
I think just before the demo, there are two, questions which are coming again and again. One is from Clyde and one is from Satya.
Okay.
Just scroll up onto the last 3-4 messages, or you want me to go down?
So in effect, this game will play in a window while the real world will be seen as this is optical see-through. Yeah, correct. Will this lead to versions conflict, real world image configurable render, or is GeoGlass stereo aware when placing the render surface? Okay, so let's support spatial understanding. I can see some pictures. Okay, so Clyde, so first question. So the answer to the first question is so the versions, competence, conflicts, VSEs unfortunately present in all devices. Hold on. Yeah, so there's so many. Yeah, so it's present in all AR VR devices right now. And this is also something that will be present in GeoGlass. However, it's not something that in our experience has led to any discomfort in the long term. We've been actually using glasses for at least 1.5 to about 2 hours continuously, and in different scenarios, and haven't really found any discomfort because it does place things decently positioned well. Obviously, it also is a matter of how you design your content. If you make things which are coming too close, or which are which are allowing, or which are making the users to converge a lot onto while focusing, then obviously that itself poses another problem. Second question is, does it support spatial understanding? So again, currently, GeoGlass is a 3DoF headset. It does not understand your surroundings. It does not, understand what planes are and how can they interact with the surfaces. However, we are going to be working on lot of these modules later in the next couple of months, and sort of will be soon putting out those releases. Yes, I hope that answers your question, Clyde.
Demo.
Yeah. Cool. So guys, so just a quick disclaimer. This is I was only able to get a dev like a dev hardware for you guys to see. I am not yet authorized to show the release hardware yet. There are still certain unfortunately paperwork related stuff that's pending, because of which I'm not able to show you the release hardware. But ta-da! So this is GeoGlass. This is the dev version of a GeoGlass. It is still under testing. This particular one, we use it for a lot of our internal hardware, software, and applications testing. But it's a fully functional unit. And yeah, let me just try to wear it and sort of show you. I think after Kiran Thomas said, there's nobody else who's.
No.
I mean, people haven't seen it. Yeah, so this is how it looks once I sort of wear the glasses. I hope you guys can see me on my camera, right? The camera is on, right? Oh yeah, it is on. Yeah, this is how GeoGlass looks, and of course this is the cable. In fact, so a quick fun. So GeoGlass obviously it also actually works with the desktop, but as in the display does, not the sensors. So I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but essentially you can probably see yourself through it. So I've just connected it to my laptop right now, just in the and you can see that this thing sort of working and running with that. And and obviously this is the controller with which I can sort of use certain play certain games. But yeah, so this is GeoGlass. And yeah, do you guys have any questions on this? Do you want to wear it as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a really compact form factor. It's a very, very comfortable device. I'm not a technical person, but from a simple user perspective, I can tell that this has the potential to really take AR and VR to the consumers. This is also how it attaches to a phone.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So basically, this it also sort of, as you know, as you might be aware, it works with a smartphone. So I had connected it to the laptop. I can also connect it to the smartphone, and with the smartphone, of course, you get all of your controls, tracking, services, etc. And so I think Tanveer is asking if a demo of a GeoGlass through it can be seen. So unfortunately, we won't be able to show that because, as you have to sort of use the glass to sort of wear it. But we are actually planning to host a physical demo somewhere. Not sure where and not sure when, but we are planning to host that sometime somewhere soon, which will allow us to sort of really, or which will allow you guys to actually put on these glasses for yourself and sort of see it and test it. So yeah, so that's that. Great, wonderful. So I'm gonna look for more questions and sort of try answering those now.
I see a question here. Can we project GeoGlass output to TV screen? We're not, as I've mentioned before, we're a lifestyle and an entertainment product, and we are not, competing with a smartphone, but what we're directly competing with is your TV. So we want to, instead of, we want to elevate the way that you currently watch, TVs and movies, the TV shows and movies. So, no, it will just be an addition to the TV screen, and we want to augment your experience there.
Yeah, the chat is indeed getting a lot chaotic. There seems to be way too many questions that I can even read and keep up. So,
Yes. So I think, yes, all the questions that you guys have posted here are noted. So we might also just like put in all these questions in a document and share answers with you, along with the feedback form and other details that we want to share after the webinar.
yeah.
I think another question that Clyde is asking again and again is for the lenses. Clyde, you can just have different lenses that we provide along with the GeoGlass as per the eye power you have. So you have a facility or something to kind of put in these lenses onto the GeoGlass.
You mean prescription lenses? Yes. If you have an eye power, for example, for me, then there is. So I'm just going to show you real quick. So there is a slot here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little dark, but there's a slot here wherein you can attach prescription lenses, which allows you to sort of whatever your eye power is, so that you don't have to wear it with your glasses. Yeah. No scripts to make an object scalable. You just add GMR Manager script. Yes, so Rexel, yes, there are no scripts for that. You just add GR manipulation and it does that for you. Photon Pun will work with JMR platform. Yes, that's because of Unity function directly, right? So, I mean, it's a Unity plugin or module directly. So it's 1:20 now. I'm just going to try to answer any other questions that I can in the next 10 minutes till 1:30, and then we'll wrap it up. And anything else that we've missed, perhaps we can take it up separately. Is that okay enough?
Yes, I think that's perfect. And sure.
So can undergraduate join this as well? Yes, you can. When shall we receive dev kit? I think Arnav can answer that. Technical specs of GeoGlass, also something that we can, I think it's part of the developer, you get to know that through the developer program. What are the use cases for the camera? Does AR support is there? So use case for the cameras, of course, you can take images, videos, etc. But also you can use it for anything else that maybe you want to create some cool filters in 3D space of the video that you're seeing. That's something you can do. I don't know if you've seen this app, which sort of creates a portal of a kind, with the video feed from a camera. That's something that you can also check out. 51 degrees, it's done. It's a 3DOF device. Is it possible to cast what was displayed in GeoGlass? Yes. So if you remember the upcoming roadmap or the upcoming features, that slide that I'd shown, it had a cast record feature. So that's that. It is going to be present soon, and we know that's going to be super helpful for you to create your demo videos for your apps on the GeoGlass. So yes. I have good sense of designing, but poor coding for now, as I'm a first year and have a lot to learn. Am I eligible? Yes, Amisha, everyone is eligible. There's no eligibility criteria as long as you have a zeal to make or to create something, and as long as it's wonderful. And yeah, I think there's just please, we would love to hear what ideas you have in your mind, and then go ahead from there.
Just one input here, there's a reason why we have this community, because there are a lot of developers out there who, for example, specialize in 3D modeling, and then there are some who are really good at coding. Like one of the other skills is like lacking in one developer or the other. Now the purpose of this community is for you guys to come together so that you can come and ask for help from like fellow like developers, and there are many of those who will be very much happy to help you out. So, just like let us know if like, you need the link to the Discord community. And if you're actually actively building with us, then we'll just like, like inculcate you in that. And, you can take up these issues with some of your peers, and pretty sure some help will come your way.
Is there going to be any revenue sharing for the apps? Those will be communicated to you as part of the developer program going ahead. Just reach out to these folks. Once we submit our app based on our agreement, can we create more apps for the store even without a specific contract? I think again, you can perhaps drop in this question specifically directed to Arnav or Ashika. They can answer it for you. Or Arnav, do you want to take it up right now, or you want to reply?
So I think, so just to be very clear, I think a lot of questions like these are coming up. So guys, just a disclaimer right now, as Devesh also mentioned in his conversation, that a lot of paperwork and legal patents have been already applied for. So that's the only reason that we are kind of working with exclusively with few members, and the SDK is not publicly available. So once these legal formalities are done and the dev portal is available, you will be able to access the SDK from the developer portal. But in the meanwhile, you will have to reach out to us personally, and there's a strict. I would definitely emphasize on strict. There is some strict scrutiny that we would be doing, because we want the applications coming onto the platform to be of utmost importance and of utmost quality. So that's the only reason it's being so private so far. But anyhow, just register on the developer program, and then we'll get in touch with you and help you get started with your journey.
Yeah, thanks, Arnav. So Nipun, I think Nipun, there's a question by you. You said the registration does not ask us about our idea. So on what basis are you prioritizing the invites? So it's a wonderful question. So the registration form itself does not ask for an idea. Reason being that we don't want to, be clouded or be biased by the idea the first time we receive your application. So the first step is just, hey, you are interested in talking to us, and we love talking to you guys, so please send us those invite. Then once we do that, then we check you out, we check out your profile or your portfolio, whatever links you have provided. Then we schedule a call with you, and during that call is when we really want to first understand what are you doing and where you are. Because see, judging an idea, or on the basis of 2 minutes that person has spent, it's almost equal to judging somebody based on how good they scored in 12th, right? That's very antiquated, and that's really just not how worlds and companies and systems are built in general, or successes are written in that, for that matter. So what essentially I mean is that this happens through a much more detailed and much more intimate process, in which we understand you, we talk with you, we understand where you're coming from, what kind of projects you have built. Then we ask you to work on a concept. We give you ample amount of time, so that you can work on that concept. We work with you on iterating on that concept, and if that concept, if we feel that that's turning out to be an amazing addition to our system, then that's how we prioritize.
Yes.
Should we need to JioGlass to implement our idea? Not really. You can implement it on Unity with the editor functionality all the way through, and then obviously just test it on the glass, and or the dev kit once you receive those. Can we see the glass, what it looks like? That's done. Also, how does the platform support enterprise app development? Correct. So, so Stephen, enterprise app and enterprise managed services is something that will be launched later. Around will start coming to the horizon around Q2 of this year. And you'll see a lot more SDK plugins, or rather additional packages which are directed towards enterprise connectivity and enterprise managed services. Lot of talking, please. Sorry, Kai. As I recorded, so as I can record video to watch because I joined late. Okay. So the app building experience is, yes, similar to Android. Does it support remote screen sharing? 3 off. So UI UX prototyping with Adobe XD is also something that is the file that we have shared, that contains all of these UI toolkit assets that you had actually seen on Unity. But but yes, any VFX sort of thing in JioGlass? Anukul, could you elaborate what do you mean by any VFX sort of thing? I'm not able to understand. Will target tracking, face tracking be added? Target tracking, yes, will be added. Face tracking, not sure right now. We'll see hardware specification again. It's much easier for you to find those out. Once you connect through our developer program, and we can open up a lot of these information. Can we start the Geoglass demo? How does represent it? Talk on the information list. Some standalone. Are there diopter attachments? Yes, I think we answered that. Refresh rate. So it does not have a built-in battery or a power source. It essentially uses the power source from the mobile phone. Or from the mobile phone rather. Is that support see-through? Yes. Glass you plugged in either on mobile compulsory. Correct. So the glass is a passive device. It basically relies on the computing, graphics, power of your mobile or of your laptop or any other source. So yes. Can we test the GeoGlass hardware while still developing on Unity instead of building the app and testing it on mobile again and again? You can actually test it on the editor for as long as you can. You can also then test it on the dev kits that will be coming your way if you are part of the program, and it's sort of on the pipeline. And then eventually, yes, you can test it on the glass. But your editor testing is something that you can use, as a wonderful proxy right till the very end. Wouldn't be a problem. Is it only available in black only? No, there are actually colors available, and I'm dying to tell you, but I will be screwed if I do. So gonna have to wait for a while. Something running inside a standalone device. So it need to be connected to the processing.
Yeah, I think I've answered a lot of these questions.
Yeah. Was the refresh rate? So refresh rate is about 90 hertz of the display. Right now it's tuned to 60 hertz. We will be opening up 90 hertz in a future hardware release. I mean, by the time it launches, it will be running with a 90 hertz. Can you project to no? Photon just works. Bluetooth, no. Is there any damages? Is there any chance of damaging your eyesight? None. There is no chance of damaging the eyesight. In fact, the brightness of this glasses, although it may seem to be a lot or that it's coming close to the eyes, it's actually if you use your smartphone at night at about 30% of brightness and you keep it like that, that's the equivalent that you're getting with the GeoGlass at its full brightness, no matter where you are, dark or sun. So if using smartphone is bad for your eyes, then I'm sorry. Yes, GeoGlass is going to be bad for your eyes too. Cool. I'm sorry, guys. I think I will probably have to leave now. It was wonderful speaking to all of you, and thanks once again for taking out the time on the Sunday and hearing to us, talk about this. As a key takeaway, we would love for you, love to hear from you. I don't actually. Do you want to conclude? Might be.
Sure. I think thank you guys for giving us your time and being with us and also supporting this initiative that we are doing to kind of democratize mixed reality starting from India and taking it globally. So I think all the questions that you asked us today are valuable. We'll be noting all these questions and maybe sharing the document along with other things that will help you get started. And a lot of questions with regards to access to SDK and how to enroll for the program are duly noted. We'll get in touch with you personally, Ishika and I, and we'll make sure that we get you started onto your journey. And looking forward to creating great content and launching GeoGlass sometime mid of this year for the consumers, and then further taking it globally. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thanks once again, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank
yeah,
you.
let us know, what else you would need in the what are the features you want in the SDK, what we are missing as a developer program, maybe there's certain sessions that you want us to hold or anything else. We'd always love to get ideas from you, and I think you've been getting wonderful ideas through us through Discord and other mediums. Would love to hear more and make this really a product which everybody loves, especially our developers.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye, guys. Have a good weekend. Have fun. Be safe. And happy Republic Day in advance for people who are from India. And yeah, see you guys soon. See you guys into the next session. Bye-bye. It should be a closing music.